Hi, boys and girls. We have been talking about parts of a story. We know about the characters and the setting. Today we're going to learn one more part of the story, and that is called the plot. The plot are the things that happen in the story or the events that happen in the story. Let's sing our song, and we're going to add a new verse today for the plot. We'll start with characters and then setting and then plot, okay? Remember, it's a repeat after me song. The people are, you sing it. The characters. The people are. The characters. Then we're going to sing this part together. The people are the characters, or even cats or dogs or birds. The setting is, sing it, just where they are. The setting is just where they are. Let's sing together. The setting is just where they are, like in a house or in a car. Here's the new one. The plot is, sing it, the things that happen. The plot is the things that happen. Sing together. The plot is the things that happen in the beginning and middle and end. Very good job. Our story today is a great one. It's called Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. It's an awesome story. After we're done, we'll talk about the plot, the events that happened in the story. This story is by Virginia Lee Burton. Ooh, look at that. Mike Mulligan had a steam shovel, a beautiful red steam shovel. Her name was Mary Ann. Mike Mulligan was very proud of Mary Ann. He always said she could dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. But he had never been quite sure that that was true. Do you think she can dig so much? See, a steam shovel has coal in here that it burns, and it's kind of like a steam train. The steam coming out makes the shovel dig. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had been digging together for years and years. Mike Mulligan took such good care of Mary Ann, she never got old. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the great canals for the big boats to sail through. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who cut through the high mountains so the trains could get through. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who lowered the hills and straightened the curves to make the long highways for the automobiles. Automobiles are cars and trucks, right? It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who smoothed out the ground and filled in the holes to make landing fields for the airplanes. And it was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the deep holes for the cellars of the tall skyscrapers in the big cities. When people used to stop and watch them, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann used to dig a little faster and a little better. The more people stopped, the faster and better they dug. Some days they would keep as many as 37 trucks busy taking away all the dirt they dug. Do they like when people watch them? Then along came the new gasoline shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel motor shovels, and they took all the jobs away from the steam shovels. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann were very sad. The sign says no steam shovels wanted. All the other steam shovels were being sold for junk, or left out in gravel pits to rust and fall apart. Mike loved Mary Ann. He couldn't do that to her. He had taken such good care of her. She could still dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. At least he thought she could. He wasn't quite sure. Everywhere they went, the new gas shovels, the new electric shovels, and the new diesel motor shovels had all the jobs. No one wanted Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann anymore. And then, one day, Mike read in the newspaper that the town of Popperville was going to build a new town hall. "We're going to dig the cellar for that town hall," said Mike to Mary Ann. So off they started. What are they going to dig? A cellar for a big town hall building. They left the canals and the railroads and the highways and the airports and the big cities where no one wanted them anymore, and they went all the way out in the country. They crawled along slowly, up hills and down hills, till they came to the little town of Popperville. When they got there, they found the selectmen were just deciding who should dig the cellar for the town hall. Mike Mulligan spoke to Henry B. Swap, one of the selectmen. "I heard," he said, "you are going to build a new town hall. Mary Ann and I will dig the cellar for you in just one day." "What?" said Henry B. Swap. "Dig a cellar in one day? It would take 100 men at least a week to dig our cellar." "Sure," said Mike, "but Mary Ann and I can dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week," though he had never been quite sure that was true. And then he added, "If we can't do it, you won't have to pay." Henry B. Swap thought that would be a good, easy way to get part of the cellar dug for nothing. So he smiled in a rather mean way and gave the job of digging the cellar to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. Do you think they can do it? They have to dig the cellar in one day or else they won't get paid. I hope they can do it. They started in early the next morning, just as the sun was coming up. Soon a little boy came along. "Do you think you'll finish by sundown?" he asked. "Well, sure," said Mike, "if you stay and watch us. We always work faster and better when someone is watching us." So the little boy stayed to watch. Then Mrs. McGillicuddy, Henry B. Swap, and the town constable came over to see what was happening, and they stayed to watch. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug a little faster, a little better. They say that part a lot, so you can do it with me if you want. Want to try it? a little faster, a little better. This gave that little boy a good idea. He ran off and told the postman with the morning mail, and the telegraph boy on his bicycle, and the milkman with his cart and horse, the doctor on his way home, and the farmer and his family coming into town for the day, and they all stopped to watch. And that made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig, you ready? A little faster, a little better. They finished the first corner neat and square, but the sun was getting higher. One corner done. Clang, clang, clang. The fire department arrived. They had seen the smoke and they thought there was a fire. Then the little boy said, "Why don't you stay and watch?" So the fire department of Popperville stayed to watch Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. When they heard that fire engine, the children in the school across the street couldn't keep their eyes on their lessons. The teacher called a long recess, and the whole school came out to watch. And that made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig. Ready? A little faster, a little better. They finished the second corner neat and square. But the sun was right up at the top of the sky. Ooh, they better hurry. They won't get paid. Now, the girl who answers the telephone called the next towns of Bangerville and Bopperville and Kipperville and Copperville and told them all what was happening in Popperville. And all the people came over to see if Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel could dig that cellar in just one day. The more people that came, the faster Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug. But they would have to hurry. They were only halfway through, and the sun was starting to go down. They finished the third corner, neat and square. Never had Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had so many people to watch them. Never had they dug so fast and so well. And never had the sun seemed to go down so fast. "Hurry, Mike Mulligan! Hurry, hurry!" shouted the little boy. "There's not much more time." Dirt was flying everywhere, and the smoke and the steam were so thick the people could hardly see anything. But listen! Bang! Bang! Crash! Slam! Louder and louder! Faster and faster! Will they make it? And then suddenly, it was quiet. Slowly the dirt settled down, the smoke and the steam cleared away, and there was the cellar all finished. 4 corners, neat and square, 4 walls straight down, and Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann at the bottom, and the sun was just going down behind the hill. "Hooray!" shouted the people. "Hooray for Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. They have dug a cellar in just one day." They did it. But suddenly the little boy said, "How are they going to get out?" "That's right," said Mrs. McGillicuddy to Henry B. Swap. "How is he going to get that steam shovel out?" "Hey, Mike Mulligan, how are you going to get your steam shovel out?" Mike Mulligan looked around at the 4 square walls and the 4 square corners, and he said, "We've dug so fast, and we've dug so well, I've quite forgotten to leave a way out." Nothing like this had ever happened to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann before. They didn't know what to do. Everybody started talking at once. Everybody had a different idea, and everybody thought their idea was best. What's your idea? How could he get out? They talked and talked. Then Henry B. Swap said, "The job isn't finished because Mary Ann isn't out of that cellar, so Mike Mulligan won't get paid." Now the little boy, who had been keeping very quiet, had a good idea. He said, "Why couldn't we leave Mary Ann in the cellar and build a new town hall above her? Let her be the furnace for the new town hall, and let Mike Mulligan be the janitor. And then you wouldn't have to buy a new furnace. And we could pay Mike Mulligan for digging a cellar in just one day." "Why not?" said Henry B. Swap. "Why not?" said all the people. So they found a ladder and climbed down into the cellar to ask Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. "Why not?" said Mike Mulligan, and so it was decided, and everyone was happy. They built that town hall right over Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. It was finished before winter. Every day the little boy goes over to see Mary Ann. As for Henry B. Swap, he spends most of his time in the cellar of the new town hall, listening to the stories Mike Mulligan has to tell, smiling in a way that is not mean at all. Now, when you go to Popperville, be sure to go down in the cellar of the new town hall. There they'll be Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, Mike in his rocking chair and Mary Ann beside him, warming up the meetings of the new town hall. The end. Let's talk about the plot of our story. What happened at the beginning? Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann were digging lots of things. What happened at the middle of the story? They decided to dig the town hall, and people came to watch, and they dug faster and faster. What happened at the end of the story? They finished the town hall, but Mary Ann was at the bottom, so they decided to make her the furnace, and Mike Mulligan worked there as the janitor. Good job. That's the plot of our story, all the events that happened. See you later.